The moment you start explaining yourself, you lose. And I used to be the king of explaining myself. Like, I was terrible, like embarrassingly bad at this. I'm talking about walking into a room 5 minutes late and then spending the next 10 minutes just explaining why I was late. Oh, fuck, sorry guys. Traffic was crazy, or my Uber got lost, and then my phone died, so I couldn't call. Everyone was just looking at me like, bro, we don't care. So let me tell you about probably the most embarrassing phase of my life. I was dating this girl, right? And I sent her a text message. Normal text, nothing weird. But if she didn't reply within like an hour, I'd start spiraling. Like, oh shit, maybe she didn't understand what I meant. So I'd spend another few minutes just sending another text explaining what I meant by the first text. And then another one apologizing for sending too many texts. And bro, by the end of the day, I'd sent like 5 messages to just explain one simple text. And I'm just wondering why she's losing interest. Or at work, I'd have an idea in a meeting, and instead of just saying the idea, I'd spend 5 minutes explaining why I thought of it, where it came from, and why it might work, but also why it might not work. And by the time I was done explaining, everyone had already moved on to the next topic. And I'm just thinking, why doesn't anyone respect these ideas that I'm spitting? And about, say, 2 years ago, I met this guy, and bro, this guy just commanded respect everywhere he went. We'd go out, women would be drawn to him, and everyone would be coming up, waiters, bartenders, giving him respect. Not because he was like the best looking or the richest, just because of his energy. And I'm watching him like a hawk, right? I'm just sussing him out, just trying to figure out what he had that I didn't. And then I noticed something that blew my mind. Someone would ask him a question like, why did you choose to live here? Expecting this long explanation. And he'd just go, because I wanted to. That's it. No justification, no seeking approval, just because I wanted to. And people would nod and be like, okay, cool. And I'm thinking, wait, that's it? You can't just not explain yourself? So I'm just lying in bed that night thinking about this, right? And it hit me like a truck. Every time I explained myself, I was basically asking for permission. I was saying, please tell me I made the right choice. But when this guy just stated his decision without explaining it, he was saying, I trust my judgment. I don't need your approval. And that confidence, people were drawn to it. I realized I'd been given away my power every time I opened my mouth to justify myself. Let me tell you how bad this was. I'd post a gym selfie, and then I'd write this long explanation, this long caption just explaining why I was working out, what my goals were, why I chose this particular exercise. Bro, it's just a gym selfie. Just post the fucking thing. Or I'd make a career decision and then spend weeks explaining it to everyone why it was the right choice. My friends, my family, random people who didn't even ask about it. I was so desperate for validation that I'd explain myself to people who literally just didn't care. And man, dating was the worst. I'd plan a date and explain to the girl why I chose the restaurant, why I thought she'd like it, what the backup plan was if she didn't. And she's sitting there like, dude, you're supposed to be confident, not my personal assistant. The change started when I began catching myself mid-explanation. Someone would ask why I work out at home instead of gym. And then instead of giving them my whole personality or say whole philosophy on home workouts, I'd just say, it works better for me. When my family asked about my career choices, instead of defending my decisions for an hour, I'd say, this is what I'm doing, and then change the subject. Now, if you're recognizing yourself in this and You want to learn how to build that kind of unshakable confidence, not just socially, but in every area of your life. I've got something that covers this exact transformation. Stick around, I'll tell you more about it. Anyways, at first it felt weird, right? Like I was being rude or defensive, or even dismissive. Like I didn't give a fuck. I was arrogant, almost. But something crazy happened. People started respecting my decisions more. They stopped questioning everything I did, because when you don't seek approval, people assume you don't need it. And when you don't need it, when you don't need the approval, they'll just want to give it to you. And here's what I learned about how this actually works. When you over-explain, you're communicating uncertainty. You're saying, oh, I'm not sure about this decision, so please validate it for me. But when you make a statement without explaining it, you're communicating confidence. You're saying, I thought about this. I've made my choice. I'm good with it. And people are drawn to certainty, that type of certainty. Think about the most attractive guys you know. Do they explain themselves constantly? Hell no. They make decisions and then they move forward with it. If someone doesn't like it, that's a you problem. So here's where I started. And this is what I started doing. Instead of explaining why I chose something, I just state that I chose it. That's it. Done. Instead of justifying my decisions, I'd own them. Instead of seeking approval through explanation, I trust my own judgment. And bro, everything changed. My presence became more attractive because I wasn't seeking validation from everyone in the room anymore. Women were more interested because I wasn't trying to convince them I was worth their time. Men showed more respect because I carried myself like someone who trusted his own judgment. Now here's what you can start doing today. Catch yourself every time you start over-explaining yourself. Just stop. Practice making statements instead of seeking approval. Things like, I'm doing this instead of, do you think I should do this? When someone questions your choices, resist the urge to convince them. Just state your position and move on. You gotta trust your judgment and stand by your decisions without needing everyone to understand them. Now, if you're tired of seeking approval through explanation, here's your challenge. For the next 7 days, catch yourself every time you start over-explaining yourself. Just stop mid-sentence if you have to. Practice the power of, because I wanted to. Trust your judgment and watch how people start treating you differently. Drop confidence if you're ready to stop explaining yourself and start commanding respect. And look, if you want the complete system for building this kind of unshakable confidence, the kind that doesn't need explanation or validation, I've created this 7-day masculine reset that transforms how you show up in every situation. It's not about social confidence. It's about building the mental strength, the physical presence, the inner conviction that makes explanation unnecessary. When you know who you are and what you're about, you don't need anyone to convince who you are. And the system that I've put together will teach you basically on how to build a rock solid foundation, mentally, physically, and socially. It's the exact framework that I use to go from seeking approval from everyone constantly to just trusting my own judgment completely. First link in the description. It's going to carry basically everything that I've learned into a nice, easy to digest format for you. It will change how you carry yourself forever. And if you want to work with me directly and just basically fast track this transformation and build the kind of presence that commands respect without explanation, there's a link to book a call. We'll see if it makes sense to accelerate your journey with personalized guidance. Anyways, that's my rant for today. Hope you guys liked it. Give it a like, comment, subscribe, share it with a bro who needs to hear this. And remember, confident men don't explain. Remember, accelerate your journey with personalized guidance. Remember, confident men don't explain themselves. They make decisions and move forward. Stop seeking permission and start commanding respect. I'll catch you guys in the next one.